Hello everyone, this is Popeye and today we are sailing together to the Old Wild West for the good, the bad and the ugly YouTube series. A video collection where I will evaluate some of the past trade that I took in the previous days in order to check the why, the what and the how behind this trade, in order to pick one good trade, one bad trade and one ugly trade. We will evaluate together this trade to see how I can improve on my trading journey, but also I will try to give you some tips in order to grow in your path to become a profitable trader. So stay with me here in the Wild West for the good, the bad and the ugly YouTube series. As always, big shout out to Bluefin for sponsoring my YouTube channel. Make sure to trade with me on Bluefin. You will find the referral link on the description below. And before moving to the good, the bad and the ugly, also make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel, and at the end of the video, if you enjoyed, make sure to leave a comment and a like. But without further ado, let's go to see the good, the bad and the ugly. For this week, as a good trade, I pick a BTC long that actually didn't turn so well profit-wise, but I think it's worth to put in the good category because it's a trade that somehow I followed my system and I followed what I was seeing in the market. Then the price action developed, let's say, against what I was seeing, but still I see this as a good approach in trading. And I put it in the good one because if a trade goes wrong, it doesn't mean that the system is wrong. Every system can work 60-70% of the time, but it has room for failure. So my point on putting this trade on the good one is addressing the fact that probably if I would be presented in the future with the same situation, I would probably take again this trade because for me a trade setup is not checked individually but is checked over many dozen hundreds of execution. So the trade was this, was shared on X and was this BTC long based on several factors. I shorted BTC more or less on this rejection. Then when I saw that this support and resistance level that we had at around 90k, I started to develop interest for a long positioning, basically because this trade at this let's say price action at that time started to look, at least to me, much more bullish and potentially expanding above rather than a range in this environment. Also, we tested this resistance level at 94k several times, 6-7 times, and this was the breakout. So I longed here expecting this breakout. I saw the breakout. On a time frame there were many signs of momentum. I posted many of them over the past days and weeks on X. Daily RSI level, the daily trend, this local trend, the 4 hour, all were pointing to me that this range was probably gonna be over and the trend that we have been established more or less here was gonna prevail for the price to going higher, more or less at around 100k. That was the first trouble area I saw. So I executed this trade. I took some profit around here. Then when we started to break down, I think yesterday, I'm recording this video Wednesday 21st of January, I closed it. So at the end it was more or less a break-even trade or very little profit. I closed it because we started to lose the 4 hour trend, we started to lose this demand, we started to lose the support and resistance level, and on a time frame also the daily RSI closed below the 50 level for several other reasons. I still believe, even though again it was more or less a break-even or 0.2 profit trade, that this was a good trade. I mean, not this specific one that again didn't turn to too much profit, but I think that the confluence on this level were there, the momentum in this move was there. This specific case, it didn't turn out to be a profitable trade, but probably or most certainly if presented with a similar situation, I would take again this trade with the same very same setup. So for this week, the good trade is an unprofitable trade on Bitcoin, mainly because I do see many confluence for such kind of trade, and I would probably take it again. The bad trade for this week is an ENA trade, and I put it in the bad, let's say, category because after closing the trade and reviewing the trade, I realized something pretty important that I was supposed to realize before. So this trade was looking extremely nice. More or less, this is when I posted the trade setup, and I was expecting a dip here in this range. This is a classical power of 3 where we have an accumulation, a manipulation, a market structure break here, very strong break. I saw here local sign of distribution with lack of momentum, so I say probably price is gonna dip back to the point of control, volume node, Fibonacci 0.75 range low, and give a bounce. So I prepared this trade and share public and transparently, and this was the reaction. So it was looking extremely nice with a sniper entry, zero drawdown, and an immediate reaction from my point of entry. So a trade that was potentially a super good trade. Why I'm saying potentially? Because then the market had other plan, and more or less after I took that screenshot, and luckily after I took some profit here, the move completely retraced, and I was stopped at break even. So I think I secured on this trade around 1 hour in total. I closed 50% of the trade at 2 hours, so I realized around 1 hour. So what was the problem here? Why I put it in the bad category? Because I had a lot of good intuition, levels were correct, everything was correct, but I think the expectation of this trade was wrong. And you see that the expectation of this trade was okay. In insight, now that we see the price action was wrong, is the fact that ENA is really looking ugly on a time frame. It's a very clear downtrend. As you can see, a series of lower highs and lower lows. Here we continue to form lower highs. This market structure here actually was never broken. If we see this low, and also on this impulsive move up that we had, this structure was never broken. So why I put this trade in the bad category? Because I was supposed to have a much less expectation. So somehow this trade potentially was supposed to be more conservative, something like this, with a final take profit around this mid-range here. So this was supposed to be the expectation of this trade. Should have closed most of this trade higher here. I would, here at mid-range, I would have capitalized much more profit on this. So the point of this trade is that it's not enough to have a good reading in the market as the one I had here. It's not enough to have a good reading, a good positioning on your entry level, but also a much wider view on the market, on the situation. In this case for ENA, the bigger downtrend we had since months was mandatory to properly locate this trade in the proper context. That is something that I failed to do. So let's say I played correctly several parts of this trade, but I missed the wider context, the wider situation, and I was supposed to capitalize much more here in what ended up being just a fresh lower high in a series of lower high, as you can see very clear in this downtrend. And this is something that I usually do. If you look at my video in the Learn and Trade series on how to take profit, this concept is very well explained, where we have to take profit according to the context, and the take profit strategy should be different according to the specific context we are trading. So the bad trades for this week is ENA and TINA. The ugly trade for this week, for the second week in a row, is a trade that actually I didn't take because of very poor execution, and was this PENGU short. I could add also Farcoin and virtual short, all trade that I saw and I planned. This one was actually much more planned than the other, but I didn't execute. As you can see here, the 12th of January, I wrote PENGU on the 4 hour is back inside the range after the bearish deviation. Not sure we will get one, but if it gives another sweep of range high, I would try a short. So you can see here clearly, a very clear range. We did get a bullish deviation or power of 3 on the bottom of the range. We did get a bearish deviation on the top of the range. This price action was pretty weird. So when we have this consolidation, what I like to see is sweeping again on this level to take the liquidity of all the people that have been trying early short, that have been trying to short this, so take them all out, and then the real move, wait for the real move to actually happen. And as you see, I wrote this exactly more or less in this level, and we got almost exactly what I was expecting. So we took out all of these early short, we sweep once again, we had a textbook, let's say double top, with this equalize, and then price, boom, went completely down. So very ugly execution from my side because of my view on Bitcoin and other reason, probably bullish timeline. I was starting to think that this time here was truly different. I didn't want to execute shorts. I had this, let's say this was the most planned, but I also Farcoin and other that went actually way down where I was expecting, but I didn't execute them. Somehow I chicken out this plan. So the ugly trade for this week is PENGU short that I didn't execute instead of following my plan. So before the summary on this trade and the takeaways, if you want to trade with me, make sure to do it in Bluefin. You will find the referral link down in the description below to enjoy a 20% discount on trading fees and to participate to all the cool campaign we run with the Bluefin team. We are currently running this campaign until February the 3rd, where you can deposit, make some volume as you can see here in the description here below, and get future bonus. Also you will get extra future bonus if you trade some considerable volume. So Bluefin is a super cool exchange with a lot of liquidity, a super cool interface, so do not wait further. Trade with me on Bluefin by joining using the referral link on the description below. So a quick summary for the BTC, for the good trade this week we had the BTC long that was actually not a profitable trade, didn't have a great week, so that's why we are ending up here with a good trade that was not so profitable, but mainly because there was many confluence for this trade, so I would take this trade once again. And the takeaway for me for showing you this non-profitable trade as a good trade is the fact that a system is a profitable system after plenty, dozen, hundred of execution. So even if one single trade, this system is not effective, is not profitable, that doesn't mean that the system itself is wrong. So should I be presented with a similar setup, I would probably take it again and see how my statistics will develop. The bad trade for this week is the long on ENA or ETINA that looks incredibly nice at the beginning, but ended up with a very strong rejection. So I profited like around 1 hour on this trade, but still is a bad trade. And the takeaways for this one is that high time frame context is always key. So this trade was supposed to add a much less expectation on the long side, and was supposed to recognize the fact that this was a clear downtrend with a series of higher lows. So I should have taken most, if not all, the profit at a higher low. That is what has actually happened before we fully retrace the move. So context, high time frame context, and proportional expectation on your trade, especially for the taking profit according to the high time frame context. The ugly trade for this week was PENGU, a trade that I didn't take, and unfortunately very similar to last week. The takeaway here is very simple. Whenever you have a plan, whenever you have an idea, stick to it. So follow your system, follow your plan, do not chicken out, even if the timeline, the noise around, or you can see some further expectation on Bitcoin, do not give it too much weight, but follow your system, follow your plan, and take the trade. This would have been a wonderful trade. Probably it would have looked something like this in a perfect world. And would have resulted in really a lot of profit. So as always, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you find it helpful. Remembering reviewing trade journaling is probably the most important task we can do in trading. So make sure you always review the trade. And I hope this video series, the good, the bad, and the ugly, is giving you incentive and a good example to do your own. As always, make sure to subscribe to the channel, leave a comment and a like, trade with me on Bluefin using the referral link down in the description below, and we will see in the next one. Stay safe.